Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and hey, welcome to a later than usual My Hero Academia chapter 215, the final chapter, Midoriya versus Shinso. Cool. Hey, awesome, we're here. As for why this video is a bit later than usual, all I can tell you is I'm really tired. It's just, this week has been a combination of just more than expected daily life work, or offline work, and trying to edge out time for Kingdom Hearts whenever I get home. But yeah, it's just been a week. I'm very tired. But let's just get into it. Hero Academia. Alright, man, so overall, in broad strokes for this chapter, well, I think this chapter largely continues the same kind of style of chapter 214. It is, I think, a very technically strong chapter. Overall, I'm not as excited about these chapters as I was just 213, but that makes sense because the 213 chapter was really the chapter of potentials being confirmed and the chapter of just really awesome things going on inside of One for All that are just really interesting. Whereas these chapters are more like the culmination of the children's hard work here, right? It's the chapter where you can look at what they've done and how far they have gotten, and you can just see some pretty nice combat. So it's two different kind of feelings. Here you can more appreciate just how far people have gotten and how impressive they are. And among the standouts for this chapter, definitely Ochako and Monoma. Yeah, those were the two that I thought were really good for this chapter. Even though Monoma got captured at the end, I thought it was really good. Izuku could probably also qualify as being a good element for this chapter because he did kind of just push through whatever pain came to him this chapter. But because Izuku's the main character, he gets these moments a lot. It's a lot nicer when we have the other characters getting some accolades or some really cool moments that we can talk about in the future. And that's really what this chapter did for Monoma, Ochako, and to a lesser degree, Mina. Mina got a very interesting panel placement, and that's what we're going to be talking about when it comes to her and some other little details. But because it's such a technically strong chapter in my opinion, and because it's just a rolling moment to moment in this battle, we're just going to go through the chapter page by page roughly and talk about each of the segments because there is some interesting conclusion in some of the segments. So we begin the chapter and we're going through a little bit of a monologue for Izuku. It's very interesting. I don't think this was the author's intention, but for that first page, honestly, like the way it reads, it kind of sounds like Izuku's just concluding this first bit of his story. He's going back through his time, he's thinking about the first things that All Might ever said to him, or not the first things really, but the first monumental thing that All Might said to him, the whole "you can be a hero" line, and just him talking about how the power is his friend. I feel like Izuku has gotten some conclusions, and it is really nice to see Izuku saying that he feels like he can do anything. That was really cool, and the way it feels thematically for me when I'm reading this, it feels like, okay, yeah, this is a new start for Izuku. Like his future again has opened up, although it's really interesting to say that his future has opened up because of the prospect of new power. Although when you look at the way that he now views his power, saying that his power is a friend, that is a very interesting distinction that Izuku has developed towards One for All that maybe a lot of other people don't have. So I don't think the author made or intended for this to sound so sentimental or so monumental, or like as a new start for the character, but I do appreciate it. I think this is good. I'm really happy whenever Izuku has well-founded confidence in himself, when he's not just all talk. So I'm really all for this. Oh, I just love bragging on Izuku. But moving on, the second page after that, and let's just say to about 2 pages that come next, they are the pages of Aizawa and the rest watching this. Now this is going to be very interesting because again, like these guys, they're kind of going to be judging this fight later on. Like we still do need the judging periods for the people that missed, or the people that got missed. So I think it's like the Todoroki fight, we still need a judging period for that. It's going to be interesting getting their perspective. Of course, the most valuable person here in grabbing that perspective is definitely All Might, because we need to know how is All Might going to talk with Izuku. Can he give Izuku any little bit more information, or will he just be amazed with Izuku? Because now Izuku has legitimately obtained a distinction over All Might. You could say All Might pushed the stockpile aspect to its highest degree. And now Izuku has been the one that is there at the time of the singularity of a One For All. So we're gonna have to see what. I'm expecting All Might's going to be really proud of Izuku, and I'm kind of just waiting for that scene. So whenever we're having these little scenes of the teachers watching this, it's definitely a build up towards the All Might appreciation. The other valuable notes within those next 2 pages, page 2 and 3, is really Izuku hitting his feedback limit for. I call it feedback limit just because Izuku has that really shocky page and just his limit for Black Whip. That's valuable, and then also that Bakugo was watching what was going on. Bakugo's important here because, well, Bakugo's the one who's going to be directly interacting with this power, both on a physical level and an emotional level. So him watching this is going to be interesting, and the author did take the time to make the panel of Bakugo watching it. It's going to be interesting to see how Bakugo deals with the idea that One For All gets to have another aspect to its power. And if anything, Bakugo's panel there is just a reminder, I guess, that Bakugo has stakes in this general development of One For All. Moving on, the next page is really the Izuku reaction to the whole power thing. So in this one, we just see that Izuku's body again is not compatible with this new power, which is really interesting. Overall, the general point of this page is like Izuku can't use Black Whip that well. He needs to do like some kind of full cowl maneuver with Black Whip to be able to use it in future situations without really giving himself that feedback. And then we have a justification for why he's not going to use the Air Force, so he switches back to 8%. So overall, that was pretty cool. I think one of the more valuable things here is that, this is an underpowered approach to what could potentially make Izuku overpowered in the future. Because right here, he has to decide, okay, which of his powers is he going to make use of? And the big constraint or limiting constraint for Izuku is just how much of a shock is, or how dangerous is it going to be for him to use it in his system. Whereas in the future, when you have potentially overpowered Izuku, he's really going to be in these kind of situations, and he's just going to be alternating between which quirk is best suited to it. That's where you will see the potential for Izuku to be overpowered. But as long as Izuku's still stuck in the limitation game, we're instead going to just see some creative problem solving. It's going to be very interesting to see how the author develops from here. We do need to see how much control Izuku can develop with his quirks over the period of time. Like, say if he gets all of this under control in 50 chapters, that's pretty much the gateway to overpoweredness. Whereas if this, I guess, discovery process gets extended for a period of time, we're just going to be seeing Izuku being very mindful of what he's doing with his powers and when he's activating them. Regardless, we do get to see some idea of the weakness that Black Whip has, and it seems to be some kind of weakness towards the body itself. I guess like the more Black Whip maybe gets used, maybe the more tired or more fatigued the muscles in Izuku's body gets. I mean, because Black Whip is exerting a lot of force, but we'll have to see. Overall, from the way that the author has generally drawn his reaction, it seems like Black Whip just sends pain throughout the body. So the next page is around page 5. Yeah, roughly those 3 next pages, 5 to 7. What's interesting here is that it's a little bit of a transitionary scene. The biggest star here, of course, is Monoma, and the author is just really showing off how far Monoma can go with his quirk. And I thought this was really cool. I really wish that the author could apply this level of hackery to all of the quirks, because coming up and with the distinction of a quirk's natural activation period, or how I say it, a quirk's effective time versus how long Monoma has the power to activate a quirk. I thought that was a really clever distinction, and that's one of those little things that you would wonder about in a power analysis video. Like, hey, what happens if Monoma copies a quirk that has a delayed activation later on? How does that work with him? And here we find out. I love it. That was cool, man. It was cool to get that little bit of a distinction. It's cool that we got that little bit of exploration of Monoma's power. I'm all for it. Not all quirks can be hacked like this, but there's a lot of quirks that I think have a lot of interesting little details that I wish could get fleshed out. But it's an issue of, well, does the author have everything planned out for all the quirks? Really only if, he needs to do something cool with them will we see this kind of degree of fleshing out. That said, I'm not gonna complain when we get it. That was cool, man. I'm totally in for it. My only wish is that we got more of this with everyone's quirks. Well, where possible, because some quirks are really just that simple. Like, I don't need to know the specifics of Anima's animal voice, so that's cool. Anyway, that was just Monoma being more Monoma and just being a fun side character. So I really appreciated that, and I really appreciated how the author used his quirk. Like his quirk, again, because it's one of those clever type of quirks, it's just really neat to see it fleshed out and to see it in action like this. I was totally into that. So once we get past that segment, we have another transitionary page where it's just everyone converging to one spot. We have Ochako heading there, we have Shinso heading there, we have people watching on, and we have Izuku getting there. Which leads into the next set of pages, which really looks like Class 1B's counterattack. So when you look at the structure of this chapter, you know, the author was trying to make this really suspenseful because, you know, it was back and forth. You go to Izuku, you go to Monoma, you go back to Izuku, or you go back to Shinso, you go to Izuku. Izuku gets whipped in the face, other people get whipped, and then Izuku and the rest come back to whip Class 1B. Overall, it was a very nice kind of back and forth and definitely made the chapter worth reading. Anyway, this is where this is probably my lowest point in the chapter. Not that the twin impact wasn't a clever move. What I was kind of sad about for Class 1B was just that twin impact didn't work on Izuku. It's a bit unfortunate because I think that was a great move on Monoma's part. I feel like that's something that the teachers are going to praise Monoma for to some degree because it was clever. And mind you, I still don't understand fully how that little bit where Monoma almost touched Izuku worked. I really don't get it. Maybe I don't remember that little panel myself, but I ultimately felt bad for them because it was a really good move on Monoma's part. Anyway, Izuku gets whipped in the face by the nut, or you know, the twin impact, and then that, you know, drums up the suspense again. We move over to the page of Class 1A getting beat up. Mineta's down for the count. Poor kid got really punched in the solar plexus, but hey, he kind of deserves it. And then Mina also got hit. Although the interesting thing in this page really was the shot of Mina, because like when you look at that shot, not very often we get this kind of angle and also this kind of expression on Mina's face. I would be totally cool into seeing more of this because this is the face of a determined person, and it kind of shows in the next couple of pages. But that I was really surprised. So this was one of the first surprising shots for Mina. Anyway, overall at this point, you know, it looks kind of dire for Class 1A. Like, oh man, it looks like Class 1B's got them. Like Monoma's last play seemed to have really shifted the tides of Izuku can't get there. But then you had the subsequent page, I think roughly page 11. And this is pretty much the Izuku determination page. This is why I felt bad for Class 1B because, you know, Izuku powered his way through this. Now, mind you, you saw where Izuku got hit in the face. It was on his side. I do think, you know, if they had the luxury, they should have gone to get Izuku under the jaw and maybe tried to knock him out that way. But hitting him on the side, yeah, he was probably dazed, but it makes sense that Izuku would come back. Also, I feel like Izuku's been hit in the face before, so maybe he has some resistance to it, but I might be wrong there. Honestly, that's not how it should work, but, you know, that'd be the justification. Anyway, this is the Izuku comeback page, and this is the page that tells you, oh my god, this is getting, like, really, really close to the line here. Izuku's coming in. It's pretty good. The other big distinction in this page is that Kirishima made another comment about Ashido. Things looking bad for her. Of course, Kirishima's looking out towards her. It's very interesting, man. Kirishima's dynamic ever since his flashback has like totally shifted when it comes to Ashido. It's really funny. It's a case of one of those things like the author figured out what he wanted to do with the character, and now he could allocate more resources towards that little development or that character's relationship with another. It's really interesting, but I love the author's commitment to it. Moving on, as things get dangerous, we move into the Ochako segment, which I think was also very impressive, and it's pretty much Ochako beating people up with the power of her gunhead martial arts. So that was really worthwhile, and we end off the chapter with a double whammy from Izuku taking out Shinso and the very surprising Mina taking out Twin Impact. Shoda. There we go. And before we talk about Ochako, I just want to say, like, that final panel I thought was really nicely done. It's not every day that you get to have like a choice Mina panel. Like, this is one of those panels that's just like, whoa, nice. You know it's gonna look good in the anime. And it's really nicely done here. Izuku, cool stuff. Mina, cool stuff. I'm just really happy that the author split the page for the both of them. It's really cool that they both got to do this simultaneous takedown. Again, Mina is one of those underserviced characters, so getting more shots for her I think is worthwhile. And I definitely feel that determinator aspect in Izuku inside of Mina, especially like when you look at her pages in particular, or her panel before when she was getting hit by Poltergeist, like that, you know, that face that says she doesn't want to give up. That's like an Izuku line of thing to do, and it's really good that we have this nice little parallel between them on that final page, because Mina, from what we've seen in the Kirishima flashback, has shades of the Izuku archetype. You know, she was a girl who stood up for her friends when she could. It's just when I look at Mina and I see her and not interacting with Izuku, I get sad, because I do think both characters have this common base where if they talked, I feel like they could make some really good headway, or just, you know, just have a really interesting interaction, because the two of them are kind of similar in some regards. It's mostly just their willingness to defend people when they're not that powerful. I think that's worthwhile. Anyway, I love that she got the second, or the split page with Izuku. That was a good move. Now, going back to Ochako, I do think Ochako ends up being one of those MVPs for this fight in general. Ochako is a very interesting case of development for Hero Academia, and I think she's one of the best cases of development for Hero Academia, because what ended up happening in Ochako's storyline is that she found a weakness, and she went and she worked on that weakness. She made choices based on how they could help her get rid of that weakness. She went to Gunhead, and then she applied everything she learned. It's different than Izuku, because Izuku, he talks a lot about it. He gets a lot of narrative attention, but Ochako never really talked about her being great at martial arts. She just kind of did it. She, you know, she found a weakness, she went and she fixed it, and then the next thing we know, it gets shown off during a dire moment versus Toga. After that, it kind of died down for a while because other things started happening, and then she didn't really get an opportunity to show it off during the internship exam. But here you come back into this arc, and you just see like how good this girl is at her martial arts. Like, again, you have to appreciate the fact that she snuck up on two people relatively unnoticed. She knocked out one of them with precision neck striking, you know, the standard anime thing, and she was able to take advantage of her scene, or her situation, in a swift movement and stick the other person to Mineta's balls. Like, this is impressive. This is a character who, you know, has earned her accolades. I think Ochako is an excellent example of background development, where you don't really have time to say that this character is getting developed, but you can show it just by simple actions in combat, right? You can just weave it in there. I think in that regard, Ochako is really nicely done. This general fight has done a lot for Ochako's character, and in terms of her combat ability, it's just made it feel really worthwhile. Like, I'm really happy for the girl. Like, she set a goal and she achieved it. I'm really happy for her, and I think she should get accolades when it comes to the judging period, because let's face it, two people got wiped out by her without her using a quirk. Two people got wiped out by common skills that you or me could learn, that anyone could learn. And the reason they got wiped out is just flat out because Ochako was skillful. And, you know, I'm sure that the teacher can make a comment about being more aware of your surroundings. And apply that to a heroic lesson for Class 1B. Honestly, Ochako's done a lot. No matter how you look at it, Ochako played pivotal roles in this fight, even discounting having to control Izuku. She did really well, all things considered. So my only hope going into the next chapter is that she gets the proper recognition she deserves, because I think this was overall very good for her. Anyway, that's pretty much the chapter. Like I said, it was a very technical chapter. I think overall it was nicely done. Yeah, not my favorite for the whole Izuku versus Shinso battle, but I appreciate it. It had a lot of nice gems in it, and again, I do think the MVP Ochako should come out. Izuku notwithstanding, because Izuku's the main character, so you know he's gonna get a certain amount of cool scenes, but I think Ochako, definitely, she's definitely stood out. Anyway guys, let me know what you thought down below, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.